up to secure permanent air carriers for towns left stranded by the collapse of Brindabella Airlines. Hot, dry weather takes its toll on one shire's water supply. Glen Innes heads to level 4 restrictions. Hopes for a bumper cotton crop thriving in the warm conditions, but rain is still needed. And it's fourth time lucky for Aaron Hazelwood, picked for Tamworth's SCG Country Cup final.
This is PRIME7 News with Fiona Ferguson.
Good evening. Also making news, an independent review of local government says council mergers are critical. And another blaze overnight. Fire crews believe it was deliberately lit. First tonight, passengers left stranded by the collapse of Brindabella Airlines could soon be back in the air. A Darwin-based airline has signed on to take the Narrabri to Sydney air route, while QantasLink will continue to service Moree until March. But talks are ramping up to secure more permanent air carriers.
The collapse of Brindabella Airlines has had a big impact on the Moree community. Luckily for the town, QantasLink came to the rescue just in time and has since provided new hope for regional air services. Providing one daily return flight, the Mayor says it's a start.
They're going to supply us with a service till the middle of March. And in the meantime, the Department of Transport hopefully will get its act together and go for tenders, call for tenders. And I believe there's maybe 2 or 3 that may look at providing a service for Moree.
While QantasLink has its sights on Moree, Narrabri has attracted Darwin-based airline Vincent Aviation. The company has confirmed it's set to take over the Narrabri to Sydney route with a Saab 340 aircraft, which seats up to 34 passengers. Vincent Aviation CEO Murray Collins says all the staff at the company are excited about extending their network to the people of Narrabri. Council says it will be a lifeline for the Shire.
So they'll be providing a one flight a day to and from Sydney. They'll be overnighting here, so we'll be departing in the morning and having passengers down to Sydney by 9:20 and home by 6:20 that afternoon.
The airline will take to the sky as soon as CASA issues the required licence, but neither of these carriers are permanent just yet. The Department of Transport will call for tenders shortly. Following the issues over the last few months, a state inquiry has begun looking into the problematic areas of regional airline services. The inquiry will be holding hearings and taking submissions up until March. In Narrabri, Kate Ottewell, PRIME7 News.
Ongoing hot and dry weather has forced one local shire to implement level 4 water restrictions. Glen Innes 7 Council was forced to take action after the daily water consumption rate doubled and Beardy Water's weir dropped to below capacity. Level 4 restrictions mean a ban on all sprinklers. Handheld hoses can be used for 1 hour between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. and only buckets are to be used when washing cars. For more information on the restrictions, visit the Glen Innes 7 Council website. Farmers in the Pilliga are pleading for help as their water supply runs dry. 77 farmers attended a crisis meeting yesterday in an attempt to get immediate drought assistance as conditions deteriorate. For many, it's been an 18-month battle against Mother Nature.
What we'd like to see is that the drought package be expanded into a greater area and not just limited to the Walgett Shire boundary. So there's people in need and they are desperate.
The Regional Assistance Advisory Committee will visit parts of the northwest later this month to assess the situation. Time now for a quick check of the weather. Here's Madeleine.
Well, there is a very slim chance that we could see some rain around the region tomorrow. The chance of rain is only at about 50%, and if we do see any rain in places like Tamworth, it shouldn't be more than a couple of millimetres. Now, temperatures are going to remain at around that 30-degree mark for the next couple of days. Stick around, all the details for you shortly.
Thanks, Maddie. Still to come, a desperate call for blood and plasma as holiday donations drop. And which local town has been voted among the country's best travel destinations? Jeff Smith joins us next with sport, with a close finish for the Mayor's Cup reconciliation cricket match. And fourth time lucky for Aaron Hazelwood, finally off to the SCG Country Cup final.
Good evening. Sunday's SCG Country Cup final is a long time coming for one all-rounder. 3 times Aaron Hazelwood's been left out of the starting side at the SCG. This time he'll be required with both bat and ball. Jeff Cook cast an eye over last night's training session. A man who helped turn Tamworth into a country cricket powerhouse almost 10 years ago and lay the foundations for this team to claim the town's 3rd SCG Country Cup.
Everyone's pretty pumped, everyone's confident, and yeah, I think we'll be right.
One player who's ready is Aaron Hazelwood, finally given his chance to play on the hallowed SCG.
I didn't know if I'd get me a chance to go there again. So, like I said, been there 3 times before and I'm pretty excited this time.
Hazelwood's lower order hitting will be valuable. He'll also be called on with the ball in the absence of Quick's Jack McVeigh and Angus McNeil.
Made a couple of wickets and a couple of runs will do me, I'll be happy with. And hopefully I can keep my form going this season and it should be good.
Leo Stein and Will Howard come into the pace attack. Matt Everett will wear the gloves with Tom Groth on New South Wales country duties, which elevates North Tamworth's Michael Rickson to skipper.
It's good and bad in a way. Like Groffy had done the whole thing, whole competition, and he deserved to do it, but unfortunately country crossed over this year.
Tamworth is one of just 2 teams from outside Newcastle to win the Country Cup. Sunday will be their 5th appearance, up against 4-time champions Hamilton Wickham.
Yeah, I think on paper sides are pretty similar. It's probably just going to come down to a few individual performances, like some guy gets 100 or a 5, and then that team will probably win.
The SCG awaits for a group determined to achieve. And Fee, that's today's sport.
Thanks for that, Jeff. Up next, Madeleine is back with a full wrap of the weather.
It was a fairly overcast day for the middle of the working week. Well, that's if you're unlucky enough to be back at work already. All those kids on school holidays would have been loving the weather today. Not too hot, not too cold. Let's take a look at what did happen. And we saw a top of 30 today in places like Tamworth last night, dropping down to 18, 29 for Inverell, Glen Innes, fair bit cooler at 21 degrees, 21 in Armidale. That's slightly cooler than we were expecting. Moree had quite a warm day with a top of 34 and Narrabri 33. Now there was a little bit of rain here and there, but we didn't see any rain actually recorded to 3 p.m. this afternoon. There's a chance of rain as we head through tonight and tomorrow as well. But let's first take a look at what is happening on the synoptic chart. And the reason why there is that chance of rain is that we do have this low pressure system trough that's moving across New South Wales, and with that trough we are seeing some precipitation in some areas, but not all that much, just a couple of millimetres here and there. Now as we head through the next few days and into next week, this high is going to move out towards the east and we are going to see those much warmer winds blowing through, so temperatures will be on the rise. By this time next week it is going to be rather hot indeed. Now let's take a look at what is happening for us tomorrow, and there is that chance of rain in places like Narrabri, but don't get too excited. The chance of rain is still only at around 50 or 60%, and if there is any rain at all it shouldn't be more than a few millimetres. 30 the top in Gunnedah, 30 in Tamworth tonight, dropping down to 14, 28 in Inverell, Glen Innes much the same as today, a little overcast, a top of 21, and Armidale warming up to 23 tonight, dropping down to 9 degrees. Moving into Friday, once again a top of 30 in Tamworth, but the chance of rain still is rather slim. 30 the top, 30 in Gunnedah, and 32 degrees on the way for Narrabri. As we move into Saturday, as you can see, temperatures getting a little warmer and we should be back to those clear skies until Saturday afternoon. A bit of storm activity up near Glen Innes, a top of 24 degrees. Fiona?
Now, just recapping tonight's top story, passengers left stranded by the collapse of Brindabella Airlines could soon be back in the air. A Darwin-based airline has signed on to take the Narrabri to Sydney air route, while QantasLink will continue to service Moree until March. But talks are ramping up to secure more permanent air carriers. And that's the local news for now. Updates later this evening. 7 News is next with the day's national stories.